Good afternoon, everybody. First of all, Trevor's slightly incorrect. It wasn't actually my idea. It was actually Peter Blakeborough, who had the initial idea, and we kind of ran with it. First of all, just give you a little history about what happened. As Trevor said, there were a couple of other websites doing streaming, and a couple of the ATV repeaters were using them. CamStreams and Ustreams were two of them. But there were a lot of problems with them. There were both the servers for these two sites are hosted in the US, across the pond. The latency, the time it took for an internet ping to go there and back was well over 100 milliseconds, and that caused lots of buffering to occur when you're watching it. So typically, when you're looking at the stream from one of these sites, you're at least 30 seconds. Often it could be over a minute and a half in the past to the live transmission that was going into it, which wasn't ideal from an ATV point of view. CamStreams had some issues with the maximum number of viewers. I gather their server was restricted in the amount of bandwidth it had available, so the sixth person to try and watch couldn't, so they could only watch have 5 viewers at a time. Ustreams didn't have that limit, but they had bandwidth restrictions, so they had a fair use policy, which meant that sometimes when you were trying to watch it, it broke up or it just didn't work very well. Basically, these were generic streaming sites. They weren't designed for ATV, so I guess it worked for what they were designed for, but not for our purposes. So Peter originally came up with the idea and said, look, I've seen these, this is what they're doing, they're not working very well, can we do something better? We had a little chat. Dave Mann, sorry, do I need to speak louder? Sorry. Dave Mann also helped out. He was a good motivator. He kept us on track. He kept giving us a kick up the backside every now and again to get things moving. And myself, obviously, I helped out with the technical side, and Paul Marshall joined the subcommittee as well. And he came up with a lot of good ideas and kept us all focused on what we were trying to do, basically. So the subcommittee went away and came back to the committee with a plan. The committee, in general, were a bit nervous about this. They weren't too keen on the idea originally. Is it going to cost us lots of money? Can we afford it? Is it really ATV? Do we really want to do it? So we decided that the best thing to do would do it alongside the BATC effectively. It would be associated with the BATC, but we'd set up a separate limited company to handle the funding. We decided to register for VAT because we were going to be buying a lot of stuff and not selling anything, so we'd have to pay the VAT and we'd lose it if we didn't register for the VAT. So we set up a separate company, registered for VAT so we could get the VAT back, and we went out and started begging people for money, basically. Which was very successful, I have to say. I'll come on to that in a minute. Basically, we said to people, look, if you give us lots of money, we'll put your link on the website. People will then visit your sites because we'll have lots of people visiting the site. And it was very successful. We raised quite a lot of money. I'll come to the accounting in a minute. We came up with a plan. We needed to buy a server, and we needed to host it on a high-speed internet connection in order to get the delays down. So this is basically the server hardware that we came up with, for those of you interested in hardware. The server came out. It was a brand new Dell server that we decided to order, 1300 plus VAT. This is where the funding came from. We had a very generous donation of £2,000 from one person who wishes to remain nameless. We had £1,350 from other companies and individuals who decided to contribute to the process, and a £500 grant from the RCF, which is very useful. And these are some of the logos of the companies who contributed. So when you visit the site, please do click on the links, because they do look at how many visitors they get from our site, and the more that go through to their website from ours, the more likelihood is they'll pay us more money in the future. So please click away. This is where we are at the end of the year financially. I mean, the total income, what we decided to buy, and the money we've got left over. We're as I say, we're about a year into it now, and we're going to now go back out to the sponsors and ask them for more money. it was basically, you sponsor us for a year and see how it goes, and at the end of the year see if you want to continue. So, and we've had some quite positive feedback, because I think it's Wood and Douglas in particular got they have the highest number of hits on their website comes via the club's website. So that was very successful from their point of view. The network then, as I say, we identified the need to have a high-speed network. We needed to keep the delays down as low as possible, so we didn't have this buffering effect. The network, I actually run a company, an ISP company, so I decided to put it on my network, because then I didn't have to charge the BATC for the privilege, and I hoped it would benefit the club. Basically, the network is we've got 2 gigabit upstream providers for the connectivity out to the internet. We also have a couple of gigabit peering links to get dump your traffic directly onto local networks for UK and European traffic. We operate high availability routers, so if one router goes down, another one seamlessly takes over. And I think, apart from when I've had to reboot the router to update the software, it's been running continuously for over a year now without any issues at all. We also have remote management networks and all the other good stuff that you'd expect to see. This is where it's housed. It's in the Telehouse East Datacentre in London's Docklands, which is the heart of the UK's internet. It's where 90% or more of your data goes to when you're browsing the web at home, and you have to go to a website in America. It goes through Telehouse. There is another one up in Manchester, but it's kind of a backup, really. Most of your data goes into Telehouse and then back out again. The IRA actually targeted it a number of years ago, but luckily they weren't successful. This is the server room where our rack is. It's actually the 8th rack in at the front. And there's the actual server. It's the top one where you say BATC. That's the physical server. So there's the proof of we actually bought a server. Trevor, you've never seen it before, have you? So the website, this is how you access the service. I designed it, so if you don't like it, come and complain to me. I thought it was all right at the time. Since then, I've had a few suggestions for improvement, and I've taken them on board. We've decided to stay with it for now, but we probably will redesign it at some stage, trying to make it a little bit more user-friendly as we get the feedback from people. As you can see, the sponsors down the right-hand side, they're the people that have paid us money, so please do click on them. I will appreciate it, because they'll renew. The first facility that the streamer provided was video on demand, archive material, recorded videos basically. And if you click on the top left-hand link, it takes you into the film archive. You can select whichever film you want. In the top left-hand side there's a drop-down list. You can select the video you want, click on watch, hit the play button, and sit and watch any of the archive videos. We've just added, actually, in the past week, an upload facility. So if you've got any archive material you want to contribute, previously you had to contact me. I had to then either get it off a DVD or FTP it up to the site. It was a bit of a complicated process. I've just added this facility. So if you've got an account on the site and you've got any material you want to contribute, please upload it. It's free. It doesn't cost anything. You can do it yourself. You don't have to go through me or anybody else. If you do upload anything, we'll get a little notification so we can check it's suitable. But apart from that, please feel free to upload anything you think that's suitable that the other members would like to see. Any? 200 megabytes I've set the limit at the moment, but if that's fairly generous. If anybody's got anything longer than 200 meg, then drop me an email. I think 200 meg, depending on how you've encoded it, that's probably an hour's worth of video. So.
What sort of encoding actually do you require?
It's flash. It's all flash video. There are free encoders available on if you Google for flash converter, you can convert MPEGs to FLV files. You can pay for them, but there are free ones available. I think, Trevor, you've got Reva, that's it. Yeah. Another recent addition to the website, literally in the past few days, I've added a What's New facility. So when you log into the website, it will come up with the top there above the main menu. Any archive material or a new stream that's been added, it'll list it there and you can click on it and go straight to it. So no scratching around trying to figure out, well, where was that archive added. It'll be listed there as soon as you log in, and you click on it and watch it straight away. The other facility is of course, the live streams, which is what it was initially set up for. When we first started it, just over a year ago, we had the live stream and the archives, but we didn't have the chat facility. And I forget which broadcast it was. I don't know if Trevor can remember. But we had a broadcast to do, and somebody said the day before, it would be really useful if we could have a chat facility so that people could ask questions in real time and feedback from the broadcast. So I sat there from about 10 o'clock one evening, literally the night before, until 2 o'clock in the morning, writing a bit of JavaScript, and came up with a chat facility. AMSAT was it, right, yeah. The first pass was a bit crude, but it worked, and it got us on the air, and we got some questions back from the internet, so it was very successful. Since then, I've spent some time on making it a bit more user-friendly. I've had lots of suggestions about the chat facility, actually, which have been very helpful. And there is a lot of stuff that it can now do that perhaps people don't quite realise. You can give it commands, a bit like, I don't know if anybody remembers the IRC days. Years ago, you used to be able to chat over the internet via IRC. It's a similar kind of command structure. When you first log on, it assigns, if you're not actually logged into the website, it assigns you a guest number. If you type /nick space and then your call sign or your name, whatever you want to put in, it will actually change your name to the name that you've typed. If you're actually logged in, it will also come up straight away with your name rather than assign you a guest number, but you can change that by just typing /nick. If you get stuck at any time, you can type /help and it'll come up with a big screen of help information. If you want detailed help on a particular command, you can type /help space the command, so /help nick will give you help on the nick command, for example. I've also recently added the /online facility. People kept saying, well, how many people are watching this stream? Is anybody watching it? So if you type /online, hit enter, it'll actually come and tell you how many viewers are currently watching the stream, which a lot of people have found very useful. And another recent addition that I've added by popular request was a private message facility. You can actually type /, if you see somebody else online, you can type /PM for private message, the name of the person that you see in the list, and then your message, and that message that you type will go to that person, and nobody else that's watching the chat can see it. Apparently that was something people wanted, and it was fairly easy to implement. So, another thing that was mentioned when the project first started was a multi-screen facility, and Dave, who kept kicking us up the backside to gee us on with the project, had actually put together something on a website whereby you could actually see up to 6 repeaters from the U streams and cam streams. So we decided fairly early on to add this to the streamer site, and you can actually access that if you go to any of the live streams, either the member streams or the repeaters. You'll see on the bottom left-hand side there's a little link that says multi-screen selector, and if you click on that, you can actually pick up to 6 channels to watch simultaneously on your screen. One thing that confused a few people is when it does that, because of 6 channels, I automatically muted all the audio for all channels, otherwise you just get a cacophony of sound. So if you do that and you get no sound, it's just simply because the volumes have been turned down, and you can actually slide each one up in turn if you want to listen to any of the channels. So the future for the streamer, basically, as I said, we are going to redesign the website. We're going to try and make it more user-friendly. A few people have said they found it a bit difficult. Certain aspects of it weren't that user-friendly. If anybody has got any suggestions, please drop me an email. There's a few more improvements to the chat that we're going to make. People have suggested things like having a bio page, so that when your name comes up on the right-hand side in the list of people that are there, people can click on it and it'll go to a page all about you. It's up to you what information you put there, obviously. Something that was suggested. The category, the archive section's getting quite long. When you drop the list down, there's quite a lot in there now. So we thought we might categorize that to have like a pre-selection. You select the category of the material you want to watch, then it goes into the list in that category. Also a search facility within that we thought was a good idea, because if you're looking for a particular video and you may know a few characters or a few letters from from the description you could put it in. And one thing that a lot of people have said is they want a direct URL. At the moment, if you want to go to a particular stream, you have to go to the site, click this, click that, and you're there. A lot of people want just a short URL. They can just type into the web browser to go straight to a particular stream. So that's going to be something that's implemented fairly soon as well. And any other ideas, if anybody's got any suggestions, any way they think it can be improved, then please do let me know, and I might do it. Thank you very much. Has anybody got any questions?
Is there any limit to the number of people who can view a particular stream at any one time?
Well, the short answer to that is no. Obviously, that's not quite true, because if 1 million people logged on, it would probably struggle. But there's no bandwidth restriction. The backbone is a gigabit backbone, and potentially you could stream up to a gigabit's worth of bandwidth, which is an awful lot of viewers, several thousand. So I don't think, as the BATC scenario, we're ever going to hit any kind of limits now.
I mean, is there generally a problem for that? Because I remember inquiring commercially once from a company that did this.
They'll charge you a lot of money for anything over a few streams, yes. Yeah.
The problem was one needed to specify when you placed the order.
Yes. How many X viewers? Yes, exactly.
And,
because each viewer, if your stream is 200 kilobits per second, 10 viewers is 2 meg, and that's quite, it can soon build up. And these operations are commercial operations, so they want their 2 penneth, yeah.
So how does BATC overcome this problem?
Because I own the company, and I've said the BATC can have my bandwidth for free.
Can we click on your sponsor link?
Yes, please do. Yes, yeah, and please buy stuff from my website as well if you so desire. It's the communication gateway. I do web design and host websites for people. So. Yes. Anybody else?
John G0HAT. Could you say a little bit about what the mechanism or what happens when streams stick? For example, well, I think most of the problems gone away, but Roy, GHCK, and streaming his Sunday GB2RA broadcast, his stream was free, and it might start again 20 minutes later.
Well, yeah, there's 2 issues where the problem can occur. One is the upstream link between the person that's sending the video and the server, and the other one is between the server and the people that are watching. The software itself uses a kind of adaptive technology. It checks the quality of the link, and if it sees dropped frames, it will start to buffer. So when you start off, you get less than 2 seconds delay typically. If it sees a couple of missed frames, it'll increase the buffering to 5 seconds, and so on. So if that delay is between you as a broadcaster and the server, then everybody will start to see the delay. If it gets very bad and it can't increase the buffering enough to overcome it, then it will start dropping frames on the output, and that's when it freezes. That's the worst kind of problem, because that means you've got a bandwidth restriction between whoever's sending the stream and the server. Typically, if you're running anything else, if you're trying to sort of talk through and look at what you're sending, that will obviously decrease the amount of available bandwidth to your streamer. So the thing to do is, if you want to send a stream and broadcast something, switch everything else off. Don't send it emails, don't browse the web, don't try and download a big file. Just use your internet connection to send the stream, and you'll have the minimum problems that way. The other issue is, of course, the other way, if you're watching it and there's a bandwidth issue between the server and you, but then in that scenario, only you will observe the problem. The other 20 people watching it won't have any issues. So if you see it freezing, just put a question on the chat: is anybody else experiencing problems? And if everybody comes back and says no, it's fine, then it's your problem. Yes. Yeah.
I think this is great informed awareness of the presence of the activity and technical education, right, to choose properly. What I do wonder is, to what degree does it push people back then to watch it live? Is there some mechanism by which live gets precedence? For instance, if there's some new material, can it go to the repeaters first, rather than people just clicking the mouse and coming to you? Because this is a television club, not a video club. How can we go about that?
Well, I can't answer that. That's a logistics problem with the people that produce the material, I think. I mean, I've put the site together. People use it as they see fit. If they put the material on the site, people can watch it. I think Peter.
What we found is that there's people who are within the good field strength area of a repeater, and then there's lots of people around that are marginal, and they often won't try, or they find it so difficult. And what's happening is that the audience for the live repeaters is growing, because those people can see when they're in or not. And if they haven't got the full look through, they can't see that. So in fact, it's almost the opposite's happening. We're getting more people coming back onto the regular repeaters because of the streamer. So it's not working quite like you said.
Well, the other thing is, of course, since we've started the streamer, I don't know the actual figures. Do you know, Trevor, the number of new members we've had through the streamer? It's probably a couple of hundred or so, which is obviously benefits the club.
This is really connected with both the streamer and general activity, and there was a point I was going to make at the previous lecture about activity. I think it's important that anyone who's on the air should have a regular slot. I mean, people go and tune around and they say, well, nobody's on, but they just to be happening to look on the wrong night.
Yeah, that is a problem, and I've tried to encourage everybody that has a stream, especially the repeater groups, to put information in the description area that says when your activity night is.
That's
so
right,
that people
yes.
know when to watch.
Which
Some have, some haven't.
That's right. Well, this is really an advantage, because you can't do it any other way, but you can put there, our activity night is Tuesdays, or whatever it is, 8 o'clock, and people then make a regular point of going to there.
Well, the other suggestion that was put forward a couple of weeks ago was that we have some sort of broadcast mechanism whereby you can sign up to an email subscription or an RSS feed, for example, and then when a stream is about to go live, or you know when a stream is going to go live, they can broadcast the fact to anybody that's subscribed to the service. So you'll get an email that says 7:30, this channel, watch it. You know. So that might be something we can implement.
Good.
Sorry, Ian, did that cover your point?
This may sound a stupid question in this day and age, but has anything been published in CQTV or anywhere else describing what the streaming system is, how it works, and how to use it? Because there are still some around to whom the whole thing's a bit of a mystery, and an idiot's guide to it published would be useful.
We have done that actually in CQTV. Trevor's written a couple of articles. I've written a how to use it article.
Have you?
On
Well,
a
I
fairly
missed them.
low level. It was only one page, but I did write
Okay.
a how to use it article. Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
When would the next stage be to sort of class into your repeaters? I have this imagination where I've got a little box. I'm in the local repeater, and I key in GHCJS, and beep, 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 and automatically this link set up, and it's going up, out through UD, down the streamer, back up in the streamer, out of GB, down to Leicester, or wherever. And I think that could be an ultimate goal at some point.
Yeah, that'd be lovely. Yeah. I mean, if you can get all the different repeater groups to talk to each other and arrange that, that'd be great. Thanks.
On a Wednesday at 6:30.
I didn't fully understand your opening piece about the delays through the cam stream and the other existing streamer. You talked of delays of half an hour and such like.
Half a minute.
Half a minute?
Yeah.
Ah, sorry, I misheard
30
you.
seconds or more.
Right, but even so, can you just describe where those delays come in? Because you said the delay across the Atlantic was a few milliseconds, wasn't it?
The round trip time for a packet of data between here and the US is about 100 milliseconds on a good day. So that's 200 milliseconds there and back on a good day. On a bad day, it can be 400 or 500 milliseconds. That's one packet of data going there and back. You've got to get whatever your frame rate is across to the server, and then it's got to broadcast it back to however many viewers are watching it, and this is all adding to the delay, and you'll get drop frames. Then it starts buffering by to eliminate the drop frames, it starts to buffer, and the buffer increases, and very quickly you're at a situation where you've got at least 30 seconds delay from live, because you're starting to get drop frames. And it's because it can't get the packets across the internet to the server fast enough.
A big single piece of advice: if you keep an eye on the Adobe encoder, watch your frame dropping, because that tells you everything that's going on.
Yeah, the thing to remember is that typically an ADSL line, you may have 8 meg download, but you've probably only got half a meg upload. And if you've set your bit rate on the encoder to 500 kilobits, then you are going to lose frames, because you've got the overhead of the audio and the TCP headers. So if you've got half a meg upload, you probably only want a 200 kilobit upstream bit rate in order to not drop any frames.
So I've got 240 kilobit on the uplink, and it absolutely chops at that. So I have to stay 10 kilobit below that. If I go over it...
And of course the other thing is, a lot of people don't realise that there's a lot of things happening in the background, especially on XP nowadays. If you've got antivirus software or other programs, they run updates over the internet to see if there's an update available. You've got no control over that. So if you're streaming something and you're right on the limit, and your antivirus software decides to check if it's got an update, then you'll start losing. You'll start to drop frames again. So yeah, disable everything except the streamer. Yeah, that's the only way to do it. Or use Linux. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. A decent operating system. One other thing I will mention is that nobody's actually asked. I thought they might. We've had a few problems with internet firewalls at various places. The port that the streaming software uses is port 1935, and some firewalls block that. And a couple of broadcasts that we tried to do, we couldn't, because the venue firewall blocked it. So very recently, in the past couple of weeks, I've rejigged the server so we can now stream over port 80. So which obviously everybody has open, so we shouldn't have any issues with firewalls anymore. Giles?
Yeah, sorry, is that streaming out or streaming in?
Streaming out for broadcasting, for sending streams out. The incoming stream generally isn't a problem with the firewall, because you're initiating the connection. It's when you're trying to go out on a particular port to send a stream that firewalls will block you.
Your own company's network blocks port, whatever it was, you're not going to be able to...
No, if your corporate network blocks the Flash player port, then no, you're stuffed, I'm afraid. Yes. Anybody else? No. Right, well, thank you very much.